This is Daily Blast Live. We're talking about what you're talking about.
You all ready for this?
This is a sham.
No.
Y'all,
Just stop.
get real. Arch.
Welcome to DB Health. We're getting settled. Everybody's settled.
We are settled.
It's Monday. Give yourself some grace.
Erica's putting stuff in storage over
Yeah.
here. I don't know what's happening.
We got bins, we got Tupperware. All right, welcome
Barb
to
the Builder.
Yeah, that's right. We want to start off by acknowledging a few events because that's what we do here. Today is Earth Day, a beautiful reminder for everyone to be more mindful of the environment and of the planet. We only have one planet, so please do what you can. And of course, Passover begins at sundown tonight. It commemorates the emancipation of the Israelites from slavery in Egypt. But as we know, many people are feeling the weight of the war in Gaza as it's happening right now. So we wanted to give our thoughts with all of them today. I will be FaceTiming with Jerry and Katie and having my first Pesach without Judy.
Is that Passover?
That's Passover.
Okay.
How are
guys
you
good?
feeling?
Yeah.
Weird. Super duper weird. Holidays are always going to be weird, but we're going to fill it with love and memories, and I think that's all you can do. And then grieve. It's okay to grieve.
Right.
It's 3 months today that she died, and it's okay. It's a season and that we all go through. I really want to normalize that. It's okay.
Yeah. It's also the process of tradition as well. And that's the only thing that really links us to the people that aren't here anymore.
Yeah.
Is these traditions and like laying things out like Big Mama did, or eating at the same time. It seems like these little silly things, but it's the only thing that makes this worth anything.
It's
so
beautifully
enjoy
said.
it and try and like dig into it and like be sad. That's so normal. But just like for Judy, have some fun, crack some jokes.
I am.
Be
and
irreverent.
Be irreverent. I'm going to do a brisket, just like she would have done.
Oh,
that's lovely talk.
That's our thing, yes.
Make sure it's moist. Don't dry it out.
Trust me, I'm going to make sure. They're going to yell if it's not. All right, we have a question for you, though. This kind of is switching topics here. Is breastfeeding in public okay in 2024? A comedian now has opened up the debate after he reportedly kicked out a breastfeeding mom from his comedy show. However, let's get into this. Comedian Arj Barker was performing at a club in Australia when he noticed a mom breastfeeding her 7-month-old baby. He reportedly told a joke about taking the baby outside and actually eventually asked the mom to leave. Now, he later told an Australian radio program the baby was disrupting his routine. Let's listen.
It wasn't easy because I knew it was really awkward for me, to be honest. I think I did the right thing, but it was a very difficult situation. But I think I would do it again.
Okay, so the mom is speaking out too. She told an Australian news station that the incident was humiliating. Watch this.
The gist of it was that we were interrupting his rhythm, and that we should basically leave. Nobody wants to feel unwanted, and when you're getting basically booed out of a place, you definitely feel unwanted.
I want to be very clear here. He is also saying, Arj, the comedic comic, he didn't know she was breastfeeding at the time at all. He fully supports public breastfeeding. It's perfectly natural. That should be made clear. He just thought the gurgling was bothering him. And what do you think, Al, is the comic?
Yeah, well, I've met Arj before. He famously was just a comic that was kind of doing this thing in the early 2000s. And then I heard he moved to Australia, and then I heard he was doing stadiums. And I was like, Arj? Like, he was very proactive. But he was kind of like a run-of-the-mill comic, like all of us. And he blew up over there. Now let's get to this story. I think when I hear the story, I think about conflation. Because when you hear somebody kick a woman with a baby out, as a human being, you're like, what a gross person you are. But at a show, when Erica and Steph and Tori bought a ticket, I have done hundreds of shows where I'm on stage, you don't know exactly what's happening, but something that woman in the orange is doing is distracting everybody around her, whether it's cell phones. I've seen bachelorette parties where they're literally passing out gifts during the show. What? Is it illegal to have a bachelorette party? No, it's not illegal to have a baby. We all love those. But at a show that requires rhythm and concentration, and it involves callbacks, so you need to hear everything. When you bring your baby, you're sometimes, if the baby is acting like a baby, you might be canceling out the tickets of the people around you. I know Arch to be a really nice guy. He was an alt comic before everybody was an alt comic. He's a kind of left-leaning, nice guy. I don't think he has a problem with breastfeeding. I just think in this situation it was affecting people around them, and anything you're doing, the comic is not going to like that because you can feel it.
You totally feel it.
You've been on stage, you can feel it.
And I am someone who is pro-breastfeeding 1,000,000%. And I'm just saying, I don't think it's appropriate to take a baby to a comedy show. Do you? I don't.
I think I have no problems with babies being anywhere. What I do have a problem with is if there is an issue or if other people have paid a lot of money for tickets or whatever, you have to be sensitive and mindful of that. So if the baby starts crying, I would like to think the mother or the father would take the baby out and soothe the baby and come back later or something like that.
What if they're not crying? What if they're just kind of like being a baby,
yeah,
crawling
right,
around?
like
Yeah.
doing what babies do.
Right.
Yeah. I think the where the issue came in here probably has more to do with where the mother was seated, because something that's important to note is that they did note that you could have babes in arms.
Correct.
So it was okay for her to have the child there. But the idea that the mother might have been very, very close to the stage is almost setting herself up for something to happen, because you do anticipate anytime you have a child that age that you'll have to like up and leave at any point.
Kind of want to be, yeah.
Right.
I think anytime you go to any kind of comedic show, if you're anywhere near the front, anything could happen at any time, and they might call on you for a reference or a joke or something. So if you're sat there with a baby and the baby is squirming.
And just so you know, as a comic, I can only see the front. The back is usually in black. I really can't see, but the lights are hitting me this way. I can totally see that being distracting. But let's go further. Where is breastfeeding in public in 2024? Where do you guys see that? Is that okay anywhere? Is it still, how do you feel about that? What do you think?
I see breastfeeding everywhere. And I mean, but I also don't think about it. I probably see it more than I think about it, because it is natural. Obviously, the baby is depending on their mother to survive. That's not going to be done on your time, or mine. So, I mean, I don't think it's, I would be shocked if someone made a scene, like if I saw something like that, it would be shocking to me.
All right, what if that says, this is a person writing in, I've breastfed 3 babies. It would never occur to me to risk ruining a live performance with an unpredictable baby.
Yeah.
I agree with that. Does that disagree?
It just seems like this is what sitters are for. And sometimes, unfortunately, if you're like, we can't afford a sitter this month, which is fine, most new parents are in that situation, then maybe you wait a couple years.
Yeah.
And it sounds terrible, but there are sacrifices to bringing in this new beautiful life, and some of them are, you can't go to a comedy show probably. A movie wouldn't be great. If somebody had a baby during Oppenheimer, I'd be like, come on, man. You know, I love the movie, I love the baby, but I don't want, never the two shall meet.
Never the two shall meet. There's a famous line in Sweet Home Alabama, you guys know that Reese Witherspoon movie, where she goes, oh, you have a baby in a bar.
Yes.
It's just like,
you know what? I had this thought, Tori, because you know there's in LA there's these rockin' something where it's basically like a bar, but it's for parents. So there are places for strollers, and the kids are kind of corralled. Mom and dad can have a drink outside, and it's very much catered to parents.
New parents.
Almost all parents. So it's like there are innovations because people did want to go to the bar and they had a baby. So
they had a baby and they want to go to the bar. Coming up on DBL, the captivating photos in a book all about empowering girls and women. We're talking to the author of Force of Nature, and a crazy video of Good Samaritans rushing in to save a man. They are trapped inside that car. That's coming up next. Beautifully done, Rob. Welcome back. We have a few viral videos to show you. Up first, I love these people. They're a group of good Samaritans, and they jumped into action to save a man from a fiery crash. A 71-year-old man crashed his Honda SUV into a light pole and a guardrail on a highway in Minnesota. Well, bystanders came to his rescue as flames engulfed the vehicle. So they attempt to open that door, see it? But it was pinned against the guardrail. Luckily, oh my word, first responders arrived just in time, and they were able to shatter that window and pull the man to safety. He only had minor injuries, but is alive thanks to the bravery of strangers. I always keep one of those window smashers in my car in case you're underwater or something like this.
Well, you can get a kit. I mean, you can get them anywhere, but Amazon, obviously, where it has like not only the smasher, but also ways to cut, or it also has like warming blankets, you know, the ones that are metallic. So everyone should have one of those in their cars.
Absolutely.
I didn't even know those existed.
Yeah, it's hard to break a car window, but this immediately smashes it.
Okay.
And it's not hard glass. It all crinkles in. So that's really important. I'm so glad they did this. This next video is way less stressful. I'm really stressed out. Country singer Luke Bryan, he took a little tumble on stage during a concert in Vancouver. Luke was walking across the stage, and then he whoopsie. I love when people fall. It's not funny, though. When he slipped and he fell on a fan's cell phone. He got up. He seemed to be okay. He even joked about the mishap, sort of. Watch this.
Did anybody get that? It's okay. Hey, my lawyer will be calling.
I mean, I wouldn't be joking about that.
Why is there a cell phone on the stage?
I think that's a fair question.
That's what people are doing nowadays. People are throwing things. That's...
Why would
You
your
lose your
cell
cell
phone?
phone.
It's like throwing your house
I don't
keys
know,
up there.
do they expect him to stop and pick it up and take a selfie or put his number in? Like, what are they doing?
Yeah, I think they were trying to get a video, and then I don't know.
Yeah, but like when you
Of
look
the
at him passing
ceiling?
it back, it's the opposite direction. So like, what is going on?
I don't know, but that's really dangerous and could have hit his head terribly or broken his back. Very bad. Another performer also had to deal with a fan throwing something on stage. Someone threw an object of Nicki Minaj while she was on stage, but she was not having it because look at this.
Good for her.
Watch this. What does she do? Woo! She threw it right back into the crowd.
And hit her biggest fan.
Correct. Here's another angle of Nicki. It's not clear right now what the object was.
Yeah.
This has become a thing, though, now, Al. Throwing things on stage.
I would say we started doing these stories maybe about a year and a half ago.
Yeah.
And it's weird that like it starts with one and we're like, that's weird. And then the next day, Chris, our EP, is like, there's been another. It just becomes an epidemic.
Well, because people aren't original, Al.
Right.
Even when it comes to like doing stupid, you know, it's nefarious things. They're not original. They have to do everything everybody else does.
Right.
So of course, it's the copycat effect.
Well, why do you think we don't see this? I know sometimes maybe soccer matches might get out of hand, but even at a drunken football game where everyone in there is hammered, you don't see this.
Because they don't want to injure the players.
But they have helmets on. I mean, it just seems like a weird thing where, like, football fans, basketball fans, you rarely see things thrown on the court.
Yeah.
Even in big moments of anger. But it seems like people feel very comfortable. Maybe it's the anonymity of being in a huge crowd.
Because they feel like they know that person.
Yeah.
Like, remember Cardi B when they were throwing water at her,
Right.
too?
Yeah.
Someone's going to get... Oh, BB Rexa got hurt.
Right.
I
Didn't
remember.
50 Cent throw a mic? Somebody threw... I won't say any names. Didn't somebody throw a microphone?
Yes.
I think it was
Because-
Cardi.
Was it Cardi? She was
Yeah,
like-
no,
Party.
that was really bad.
Yeah, that was really
Terrible.
scary. Well,
I hope there's not an incident that makes there become a huge policy because it is such a bad incident. But how often can something be thrown into your head?
There's already, most places that you go to won't
Don't
give
allow
you the
it.
top to your bottles for that reason,
Right.
because they're basically flying missiles at that point.
please be careful out there and keep your cell phones to yourself. Coming up on DBL, we're talking with the author of a book filled with powerful photographs celebrating girls and women everywhere. Stay tuned for that. Welcome back. For years, Kate Parker has been using her camera lens to capture moments of happiness, triumph, and sadness. And now she's capturing stories of girls and women using their voices. Earlier, we spoke with her. Take a look.
Please welcome Kate to DBL. I gotta just show off the cover of your book, Kate. This is a cool cover.
Yeah.
This is a powerful cover. It's awesome.
I love it too. Your new book, Force of Nature, right here, baby, which I love, is your 5th book. But you chose an old photo of your daughter Alice as the cover, and I'm reading her quote here. It says, "Sometimes I have to yell really loud to make sure I'm heard," Alice says, age 4. Aww. Why did you choose this particular photo of her?
Oh my gosh, that photo is, it's one of my favorite photos I've ever taken. And Alice is she's 15 now, so it's an older photo. And I just loved that the space she was taking up. I loved that she didn't care what she looked like, that she didn't care how loud she was, she didn't care that her hair was wet. And that feeling, I remember looking at the photo and being like, it's been a very long time since I felt that way. Mm-hmm. And I wanted it to serve as a reminder to us as women and also girls that there's these moments that we feel like we are powerful beyond what we think. And so for me, it was like, I made the book basically around that photo.
That's
incredible.
Fantastic. Yeah.
And the photos featured with the stories, let me tell you, anybody, whether male, female, I feel like it can uplift and motivate everybody. You dedicate this book specifically to all the girls and women who have ever questioned using their voices. And then, to my point, you feature lots of photos of the younger generation. How did you find these girls? And did they come up with their ideas for the photographs, or did you?
That's a great question. It's sort of a mix of both. So there are some stories I hear about in the news or I read about that I track those girls down. And then there's other girls that I just want to make sure, that I want there to be a mix of aspirational and like inspirational girls in the book. And I feel like, honestly, everyone has a story of when they use their voice. But for me, it's making sure that there is enough diversity in the book and that so every girl or anybody picking up the book finds someone that they can relate to, somebody that looks like them, that maybe has a similar story to them, that inspires them.
The girl covered in mud in her Snow
I know what
White
you were going to say. Oh.
Did you see the girl covered in mud in her Snow White outfit?
Oh, I was going to say the girl with the baseball cap with the eyes reminded me of that National Geographic
Afghan
photo.
Girl.
Yeah.
Yes. Girl. I did too.
Yeah, I'm peeking over at your photos right now. It's beautiful, beautiful. But your book also profiles women who have overcome extraordinary obstacles. And one of those stories is about a woman named Elizabeth. Can you tell us about your experience photographing her?
Sure. So Elizabeth was one of those girls that I had read about her story. And Elizabeth is I read that she was this is Elizabeth right here. She's valedictorian of her college. And she gave her valedictory speech through an assisted communication device because she is a non-speaking autistic girl. Wow. And I was just like, what an incredible person, an incredible way to showcase how we use our voices. And I just found her like completely like just a hero of mine. Really, really amazing girl.
Amazing. Kate, before you go, we want to ask you about this particular photo that we're showing right now. It's 9-year-old Marina. You say she got very vulnerable with you. Can you tell us her story?
So Marina's quote in there is, so I've actually known her for years. She was a classmate of my kids. And I took the photo of her because, I mean, she's an arresting, like she has these gorgeous eyes, a beautiful girl, and just like the sweetest soul. And then when I asked her for a quote for a book about using your voice, her quote said, in this photo, I am doing everything I can to not bob my head or have my tics because she has Tourette's syndrome. And she wanted other kids to know that it's okay and that it's not something to make fun of. And I had no idea. And when kids, especially at this age, when they're in school and if they put something out there about themselves that's vulnerable, I am just so in awe of their courage. And Marina was just a really great example of that.
She says, I'm just a regular kid who has Tourette's.
Wow.
Yeah.
Kate, you are, let me tell you, you're doing the Lord's work right here. I can't wait to share this book with my daughter, Sophie. thank you for being here and sharing just a few of the incredible stories from your book. DBL Nation, you can get your copy of Force of Nature and Kate's other books on Amazon. Thank you again. We'll be right back. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank y'all.
Welcome back. Want to have whiter teeth, but don't want to deal with the messy strips or sensitivity that goes with it? Well, you're in luck. The brand that brought you Power Whitening Gel has created new Smile Actives Pro Whitening Gel with 33% greater whitening power. Effective tooth whitening can be achieved just at home, simply adding the Pro Whitening Gel to toothpaste every time you brush. No change to your routine, no extra time or effort needed. And in a clinical study, users saw an improvement of up to 8 shades after using the gel for just 30 days. Smile Actives is safe, effective, and will even work on crowns, bonding, and dentures. Order today for a special buy one, get one free offer. Don't wait to get your brighter, whiter smile. Call 1-800-700-4040 or visit smileactives.com today. We got some comments on throwing stuff on stage. Megan said, what if they hit someone who didn't throw anything up there? Like one of the...
I would
that's
assume,
my...
yeah.
Well, when you turn around and throw it back, you don't have any guarantee you're going to hit the right person.
Right, so...
But it's also also a reflex, you know.
Totally. Someone threw something at me. Also, someone says, Gigi says, I think these people just want to know how much they can get away with. I think they're hoping that they pick it up and do like a selfie or something with the crowd.
But then,
it's a big risk to potentially lose your phone as
that's
well.
a huge risk for I would say the chances of that happening are less than 0.5%.
Yeah.
And then how do you get your phone back? Lots of questions.
We don't know. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye, guys.